What if I was to tell you in a matter of days, DWP, the Department of Work and Pensions, are going to be monitoring all of your bank accounts, every single transaction, all of your savings, how you spend your money, where you spend your money, and most importantly, in real time with no warning. I bet most of you did not know about this, and you probably don't know what to do when it comes in, because it's coming in. If it's your first time being here on my YouTube channel, hello, welcome. It is the Justice Journals. I'm a successful disability advocate and former employee work coach and trainer of the Department of Work and Pensions. I used to work there before I had to, unfortunately, sue them single-handedly for unlawful harassment and disability discrimination. So I'm not really worried about people coming into my comments with the term scaremongering, because unlike your good friends, my content is based on fact, not fiction. And I'm going to be showing you some of those receipts like I always do as we go along. Now, I have seen on various social media channels, lots of you worrying about DWP asking you for your bank statements. Can they ask you for your bank statements? What happens if you say no? And most importantly, why are they asking you for your bank statements? Some of you have been asking me this, so let's break it all down in this video. And of course, don't forget to follow and subscribe so you get the best. And you might want to become a member of this Justice Journals, our website, where we've got all sorts of very useful information, tools and resources that could probably help you all out a little bit. If you are a universal credit claimant, if you're on PIP, if you're on LCWRA, or if you're one of those people migrating potentially and you're thinking about self-employment, including access to work. Now, DWP state by their own figures that over £1 billion every single year is overpaid to people in universal credit because people don't correctly report their savings, apparently. So they're now going to be giving you a choice. You either connect your bank account using a term called open banking. Don't worry, I'm going to be going into that. Or you hand over your statements in person. Either way, they are going to be verifying every single thing about you, your money at the start of your claim and at any point during your claim, in particular, if you make a change of circumstances. This is not just for simple people that might not be working. It is also for self-employed people, ESA people, every single person that is claiming from the Department of Work and Pensions. Nobody is going to not come under the scathing eye of their new bill, which is called the Public Authorities Fraud, Error and Recovery Bill. And quite interestingly, the Department of Work and Pensions have been putting this through very, very, very quietly. In fact, we're almost at the final stage, and not many of you know about it because you're not following the right people, guys. What can I say? All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this right now. What is open banking? I'm just going to try and keep this really simple. Open banking is apparently, because it is regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, it's a secure way for you to give permission to a third party like the DWP, a budgeting app or a lender to access your bank account information. And this will be your account balance, your income and your spending transactions. Now, of course, you do have to give your permission, but I can tell you if you don't give your permission, they will ask for your bank statements. And if you don't give your bank statements and you don't agree to open banking, they are quite likely just to suspend payments, any pending payments, until you provide what they will call that as relevant information to process your claim. Now, under the Universal Credit Act, you do have to agree when you sign up for it to all sorts of things. Most of that can be found in the Universal Credit Act of 2013, but the part that we're interested in is actually in the Welfare Act. And if we go to the Welfare Reform Act of 2012, I believe it's section 36. Here we go. And this comes under section 37, which I might add has just been updated. And it all comes around giving evidence for work-related activity and limited capability for work. So it doesn't necessarily depend on whether or not you are able to work or work or not. Here they can ask you for any type of evidence, and it's not the only place in that act. Now, if you're self-employed and you're on universal credit, you would have been subjected to some of these things perhaps already. Currently, they're just asking people to inform them about income and expenses, and that is said to extend to receipts, invoices and bank statements, and all of that is going to be checked by a specialist team at DWP. Now, I don't know about you, but what I think about this at this point is that this isn't just about fraud. It's really about surveillance disguised as an ulterior strategy. And it's coming for those who are trying to do the right thing, because if people are getting off their backside to start a business and try and be part of the 5%, shall we say, that are trying to make a difference, I just think it's going to be giving people more stress, more worry, more work. And most people then will just they'll just give up and they'll go, well, I'm not going to do that then. Now, I've been in this situation where people have had delivered to them an £85,000 invoice that they've had to pay back to Universal Credit because of an overpayment. And it can get really serious if you do not have really good records and really good evidence of what you're doing. So not only would I rely perhaps on things like that, but I would keep your own records. And here is a couple of the spreadsheets and different things that I created inside a product, which is called the Online Business Bundle. And not only does it explain things like the minimum income floor and a whole load of other things if you are thinking about starting a business on a low income or on benefits, about what you're doing, how you're doing those records, and also having the right evidence to challenge things in a really comprehensive and coherent manner if that comes about. Now, for those of you that don't know, I used to have to analyse a lot of national universal credit claims, shall we say, and I'm a specialist of self-employment. So that whole bundle has been written to help people avoid any potential situations when they're starting their own business. Now, carers are also not being left out in this massive anti-fraud swoop by the Department of Work and Pensions, or mass surveillance swoop, however you want to look at it. And the way they're going to be doing that is actually by boosting the teams that check verified earnings and pensions, and with general matching services, especially after the recent lashback over overpayments for carers' allowances. So in DWP's mind, more resources equals more checks, more people flagged. Now, before someone says, yeah, this is going to take absolutely ages to come in, it's going to be coming in the next few weeks. Let me show you. This bill actually started being passed in 2024. Is when it started, and we are currently at this stage here. If I just scroll down, you'll be able to see, which of course has been duly managed by the wonderful Liz Kendall. I know she's got her own little fan club there. So we're actually already at the reporting stages of this. So if you don't know how bills work in the House of Commons, I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to explain that, because if this goes through, and it looks very likely to go through because we're already at the reporting stage, it means it will come into effect potentially by the end of April 2025. So when a bill is introduced into House of Commons, it has to go through the first reading, which we can see here. The first reading is really an administrative formality. That's when it's formally introduced into the House of Commons. The title is read out. At this stage, there is no debate. Then it goes to the second reading, which we've obviously gone past. That is when the first proper debate is held. MPs can debate the general principles of the bill, what's it about, if it's needed, and if it's fair and justified. And then after that debate, there is a vote. And if the vote has been successful, it goes to detailed examination, which is clearly what's happened. And that is obviously the committee stage. At the committee stage, every single line of the proposed act is scrutinised line by line with a public bill committee, and they examine the bill clause by clause, every little nook and cranny. And here is where, if they think amendments need to be made, they will propose them with specific changes which can tighten, clarify, or challenge parts of the law that the act is about. And then after that, which is the stage we're currently at, we are at the report stage. So where further scrutiny after committee changes happen. So MPs debate the bill again, focusing on amendments made during the committee stage, and if any new changes can be added. Now, once or removed. Once that's happened, on the third reading, that is the third and final reading of the actual debate of the Act in the House of Commons, okay? And then at this point, there is a vote, and if it is approved, so if the vote gets a majority, then the bill moves on to the House of Lords to repeat the same stages. So once a bill goes through all the stages in the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and once all disagreements are resolved, it receives royal assent and it becomes law. So for those of you that have been saying they're asking for my bank statements, it's currently not law, but if you look at the other things that I have pointed out, they can actually refer to those as evidence, and if you're on those benefits, request that information from you. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. Are you in agreement or not? And let's not forget, it's not just about people's earnings. It's about self-employment income. It's about savings. It's about where you spend your money. Like if you're in the UK, or have you gone for a cheeky little getaway in Gibraltar or whatever. So your whole life, especially today with online banking and digital banking, is literally going to be scrutinized. I personally do not agree with this. I think it's a massive invasion of people's privacy. And I think too much information gathering, if it falls into the wrong hands, can be misused against you. And we all know what I mean by that. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. And yeah, let's discuss.